What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll, and I'm here with my co-host.
It's your boy, Mod.
And today, we got Goddokira. Is that how you say it,
Yeah,
right?
perfect.
Yep,
That's
that's
perfect.
right. That's,
Yeah.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's better than I can do.
I hear it
Yeah.
like Goddokira.
Yeah, I was giving it an accent, too.
No, that's even better.
I wouldn't have been mad about it.
Okay,
that's for sure,
cool.
Yeah.
That's how I'm hearing it. So, we got the guys from Goddokira here. Regressive, brutal deathcore from Grand Rapids. That's what they have on their Facebook.
Did you say regressive?
Regressive.
Regressive.
Yeah,
so,
as the opposite of progressive.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
backwards.
I am
Hell
so
yeah.
curious.
We're devolving.
Nice.
Love it. I love
I
it.
like it. So, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us what you do in the bands, just so everybody can get acclimated, and we'll go from there.
I'm Cody, and I play guitar.
I am Tim Luce, and I play bass.
I'm Kyle, the vocalist.
Oh yeah. So I got a chance to jam with you guys out at Mulligan's Pub. That was a cool show. We were kind of down a guitar player, so it was kind of a fucky show for us. But obviously, it's always cool to meet new people. I know I talked to you, and I said I'd love to have you guys on the pod after. So thank you guys so much for coming out here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
dude.
dude,
Thank you.
seriously.
Thank
We
you
were
for
excited
inviting us.
about this.
Appreciate it, man. You know, just trying to do something for the scene and keep the scene alive, and you know, meet new people, hang out with new guys. So it was cool to play a show with you guys. But today we have a special treat for you guys. Goddokira. They brought their EP. How do you say the name of it? Guro?
Guro. Yeah, well,
Okay.
as far as I know, Guro.
Okay.
You probably said it better.
Okay.
Yeah, you're putting a lot more effort into it than we are. That's the key, I think. Like that's.
All right,
I
cool.
love it. I love it.
That's cool. All right.
We're just lazy Americans. We're just like, we'll say it as
Guro.
it is. Yeah,
We Midwestern the shit out of it.
yeah, Midwestern the hell out
It's
of
all cool. So we got 4 songs today. This is going to be an EP listening special treat. So the EP comes out on December 1st, correct?
it.
Yep.
Yes.
So this podcast will come out on 11:30, so you'll be able to hear it
Sick.
here first.
Oh,
Sneak
yes.
preview.
Yep, sneak preview of the.
Dang.
We'll talk all over it so they don't really understand any of it if you want. We could just protect your music that way.
Oh, no, either way, man.
We'll
We were
just
like-
trample all over it.
He's totally kidding.
Yeah.
We were actually-
He's like, why are we fucking listening to it if you're just going to
Jake.
talk over it, right?
Right.
Jeez.
No, we were really
Yeah.
cool with having it with being a little bit of an early thing. That way everybody got just kind of, a little bit of an early peak. And
Yeah.
I don't know, just sounded cool to me.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Sweet. Before we get into the tracks, is there anything you guys want to say about the album or the EP? Like how it was recorded, how it came about? Give us a little history of the band before we get into it.
Yeah. So it actually all started out with me and Tim. We were under like a couple different. It was pretty much just me and him, like a different drummer. We didn't really have like a solid singer figured out. Like Tim had just figured like, he would do vocals. We were just gonna stick as a 3-piece eventually, and kind of just like fell apart a little bit. We kind of both got busy with other bands, and when we had the opportunity to get back together, I met Kyle and another our drummer Zach through another band that we were in. And when that ended, just naturally felt better to get Tim back and just call it, Goddokira, and we were working on before. And yeah, that's pretty much how it all started. It's all pretty much recorded DIY as much as
Nice.
we can. Like
Hell yeah.
your setup that you have in the next room is actually quite a bit of a step up from what we got. It's just like pretty much all digital ins, and yeah, it's pretty raw. But I think we got a pretty good result out of it.
Okay.
Considering like what went into it was a lot more time than money. I will say
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
No, that
I mean,
feels
that's
I
how
was
you
gonna
learn.
say, it was pretty
Yeah.
much the whole process of this last like year, essentially. Like it kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
started the recording process or like the rough ends of it.
Yeah, from the start to the finish has been quite a while.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had some delays, just like things going on, and personal, then technical, and it was just kind of that. But it was a great learning experience,
Nice.
honestly, and I'd kind of recommend it for anybody maybe thinking about it. But yeah, that was kind of
Cool.
more or less the whole process.
So how long you guys been a band then?
Little over a year now.
Okay, perfect.
Our
So
first
pretty
show
new.
was last October.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
You guys played quite a few since then, I've seen though. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
About
cool.
a dozen or
Yeah,
so
all right.
this last year.
Fuck yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
So, Cody, what is the inspiration behind the band name? Where did that come from?
So it's a translation directly to God Killer in
Oh,
Japanese.
nice.
And yeah, we
Acceptable.
just
So, you have one-upped Gojira. You are now bigger than Gojira.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
I didn't even think about that when we were kind of thinking of the name. It's like I had a friend that's like, that's a little similar. I'm like, I guess. It's a whole different meaning, though. Like,
Yeah, you are bigger than Gojira now, so on
maybe
your
one
way.
day.
Well, wasn't it
No.
originally inspired by? There's a scene in the movie Kill Bill where he talks about the sword. Isn't?
Yeah,
That's what it was
man, I
originally
almost
inspired.
forgot about that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you remembered that. Yeah, no, it was when he like made the sword, you know, and it was like I was kind of just like brainstorming for ideas for the. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
I damn near forgot. Yeah, I think it was the first or second Kill Bill movie, and Tori Hanzo hands Uma
Yep.
Thurman the blade.
Yep.
It says, "This blade will cut God." And I think he actually used the rendition of the word Goddokira in
Okay.
that sentence,
Nice.
and I just thought it sounded cool.
It
you
is
know?
cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
Appreciate that, man.
Oh yeah. So all recorded by you guys.
Yeah, pretty much in the corner of my bedroom / studio,
Okay.
essentially. You know, we just kind of like DI tracks, like, you know, vocal little, you know, sound shield basically is really all we use. But, you know, we got, you know, I think it turned out pretty okay,
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Well,
Awesome.
thank goodness for like YouTube tutorials and stuff because there's just like such a wealth of information out there. You know, like for anyone who wants to self-record, self-produce, and all that,
Yeah.
like
Agreed.
you know,
Yeah.
you can learn to do anything that you want nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's a topic Jay and I have brought up before, if not on the show, then otherwise, where the kids can just come up with the YouTube videos and watch, you know, virtuoso guitar shredders. And
Mhm.
at 13, 14, 15 years old, these kids are already doing sweeps just like right out the gate. And, you know, if you're diligent, you will get there no matter what. But with the YouTube videos, you can learn to do about anything you want. And
Oh,
just
yeah.
sit there and go for it, you know. Like, I decided one day I was going to pick up the guitar and start with the sweeps. And I was like, this is all there takes. And no, I can't do it. I'm too old. I can't. My fingers don't want to do it, you know, when you're
I
a
can
kid.
do pretty solid power chord in standard tuning.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So before we get into this track, let me know. We got 4 songs, right? What was the decision behind recording just these 4 songs? Because you guys, I'm assuming, have more than 4 songs.
Oh,
right?
yeah. We've got 9 or 10,
Okay.
something like that
Something like
now.
that, a few in the pipeline. Yeah.
Really, it was the timeline thing. A couple of the songs that we have now, we didn't even have back when we originally like lined these up and started recording them. But really, the thing is like we didn't really have the time, honestly, especially since you know it took us this long to get these 4 tracks done, pretty much, to do a whole album.
Okay.
You know, so we just decided to concentrate our efforts into the best 4 songs, essentially like half of what, you know, a full album would be these days. But yeah, we just kind of decided to go with our, you know, kind of stronger hitters and just
Okay.
get those out as quickly as we could, you know, and just get something out there. Because other than our 2 singles, this is the only, like the first real EP that we have.
right, it's
Okay.
our first serious release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we've been playing shows for the past year without ever actually having anything out there really. So
Okay.
it was just high time to finally get something that like, oh, if someone enjoyed us, well, at least give them something, you know, to check us back up on later with.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. And then I have one more question. What about the drums then? So you did it all DIY. Did you mic the drums up or?
So we kind of did a little bit of a hybrid style, and I've heard of a couple of other friends that did it this way, and that's what gave me the idea. And they've got some pretty good results out of it. We have a E-kit.
Okay.
And it's got the same exact cymbal and tom placements that our drummer has. And he came over and he mapped everything out on a MIDI pattern. Like we like basically did it, you know, kind of old school in the sense we played it, you know, there's bits where I had to cut him back in and do stuff. Cause he was really not a huge fan of doing it all MIDI and programmed essentially. But I mean, there's so much more you can do with those plugins now these days and what you could do even like 5 or 10 years ago. It's insane. And
Yeah.
like, a lot of professional recordings you're hearing out of major studios have just kind of pretty much gone that route as well. It is
Yeah.
hit and miss these days, but like it's, in my opinion, it's a viable, you know, option.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to do the exact patterns that he would do live. You know, we could still go in and edit little things and kind of perfect things at the end of the day, but we left a lot of it a little rough in that sense, just so it would still kind of remain that humanistic character.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with these plugins and like a lot of things are drum replacement nowadays. You know, you can buy these kits that have like these perfected drum sounds. So if you just plug
Mm-hmm.
those in or mix those in, I mean, if you're doing MIDI, that's pretty much the sound that you're getting. So it
Yeah,
bypasses a lot of
absolutely.
that. Trying to mic up a drum kit, have a room for it, get all the mics. You know, that because
Mhm.
that's a whole level of education right there. That
Yeah.
is-
This EP was almost like we tried, you know, I wanted to do it as good a quality as I could without like, you know, having to, spend too much money,
Yep.
honestly,
Yeah.
because studio time be expensive.
Yeah. I mean, especially for your first effort, and you guys wanted to get something out there, so
Sure.
it tracks. It makes sense. So,
Yeah, 100%.
awesome.
But with that said, we're really pleased with the result. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like that might sound like it sounds a little rough, but the sound that has come out, the end result has been terrific.
Hell yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys
Absolutely.
mixed it too and mastered
Yep.
it,
Oh, yeah.
everything?
Yep.
Everything.
Okay.
the whole
Sweet.
process.
Hell yeah.
It's a good feeling when you get that final result and,
And it
you did all the
is.
work and it sounds good. Like
Yeah,
you're happy with
no.
your own work. That's a good feeling.
And I really am, honestly. It's
Good.
like, as
Good.
far as any of the things I've tried to do in the past when I was younger in other bands, I'm by far the most happy with these.
Excellent. That's how I feel about the last thing Jason and I did. So
Hell
I
yeah.
relate.
So yeah, let's get into this first track. We'll give it a listen, and then we'll talk about the track itself when we're done listening through track number 1, Kingdom of Contempt and Disgust. And let's just see if we can get levels on this. You guys ready?
Mhm.
I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
With that title. Give it to me. Fuck yeah. That was
yeah,
fucking
Tim.
sick.
Appreciate that, man. Thank
That
you.
was good.
That was really good.
I love the decision at the end to put no vocals at the end because there was like a lot of vocals going on in the middle there, so it kind of was like part, and that's just me. That's my taste. That's,
Yeah.
That's
So I was
something
actually-
I'm always going to be critical of is the vocals like kind of like going on and on. But that was a great decision at the end just to let that fucking groove at the end and just make it.
So once we got this opportunity, I did go back and listen through a lot of your podcasts,
Yeah.
and also sick fucking work. But as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, oh Kingdom, right? Because that's an ass beater like the whole time. Like
Yeah.
in a set, once we get through that song, I'm like, okay, I'm okay, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
After that,
Right,
but-
yeah.
Some
You
super
know-
sick vocals to be singing all day with, though.
Holy
Yeah, I mean,
shit, man,
great,
yeah.
great vocals.
I appreciate that,
and
yeah.
that's one thing that's just always kind of my pet peeve is like I want something to kind of grab onto at the end, and like I understand that you guys are a young band and you probably were influenced by a lot of like deathcore and stuff, and I notice a lot of new deathcore does that. But great decision on that, just to let it ride out, because I know it kind of sucks too being the singer and you're just standing there and you're like, well, what do I do?
Well, normally I'm two-stepping and
fuck do I-
beating
yeah,
ass
yeah,
during
yeah,
that part.
yeah,
You know
so
what I mean?
that's-
So it's
that's
like
fucking
but yeah,
sweet,
Tim
yeah.
actually wrote most of that song and just slapped it to me.
Hell yeah.
And he wrote the song way before the Goddokira project ever even
Oh,
started.
okay.
So this was in Tim's backlog, and he's a fucking amazing lyricist.
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
I always have to. I got to give it to Tim. He's
Fuck yeah.
he's so
Love
much. He's so good with lyrics.
Hell yeah.
But
Good job, Tim.
yeah, so he gave me just paragraph after paragraph
Yeah,
of just
Nice,
ass beaters,
nice,
and
nice.
I was like, okay, let me try and work this into the beat while listening to just the track alone for fuck. It probably took me 2 months to figure out placement for all that, but I also wanted to still include as much of Tim's lyrics as possible.
Right.
And we did get a really fast ass beater out of it.
Yeah.
So
Great track though, by the way. Sounded really good, man.
Appreciate
Did a
that,
fucking
man.
Job
Thank
of
you.
that, guys. Like I could hear everything. It was really fucking cool. Vocals were fucking awesome. I mean,
appreciate it.
I mean, I liked you guys when I seen you live, but I was very impressed by your vocals live. Obviously, on tape they always kind of sound a little different. Anyway, live,
Right.
you know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get
Oh,
that
yeah.
power behind the PA
Yep.
and whatever. And I just remember your vocals being super sick then, or whatever.
Peak that
but-
sucker. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit more about this track. So, do you write vocal or do you write lyrics too? Then,
Yeah, I mean, I'm way newer to the scene myself. I mean, I've only
Okay.
been doing vocals for 3 years maybe now.
Okay,
So,
cool.
but before that, I was just an avid fan. And then I stumbled upon a low guttural on accident during an argument at one point. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes it works like that. But and I was like, oh shit, I can do this. All right, it took some lessons and all that shit. But yeah, once Tim shot me lyrics for it, it was game over
Hell
because
yeah.
my lyrics are. I haven't been doing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like
yeah.
all the obvious things are what I'm thinking of, and then Tim is just delves way deeper
Hell yeah.
as far as lyrics. So I would actually prefer him to write more
Okay.
for future references.
Hey man, that is a great attitude to have. Just coming in, because especially being a front man, like everybody's like, "Look at me, I'm front man. I want to do that." There can be a little ego with that, and I don't see that with you at all.
I
Like just
appreciate
being young and wanting to be able to be molded and like learn more. Fucking dude, kudos to you
Oh,
for that.
for
That's
sure.
awesome,
Thanks,
dude.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fucking
appreciate it.
badass, dude. That is cool as hell. Awesome shit. Anything else you guys want to say about the track? Do you want to tell me what it's about?
Oh, sure.
I mean-
Well, so the song is called Kingdom of Contempt and Disgust, and I actually wrote it during COVID times with like just the isolation that I felt, but instead of like isolation in terms of like, oh, I'm sad and lonely, like isolation in terms of like looking at the world around me and just being like, I'm good being isolated.
I like my bubble.
I can't.
Fuck them.
Like
yeah.
everyone around me is just losing their goddamn minds.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and I felt like I couldn't relate to anyone.
Oh, I hear
Okay.
that.
And so that's what that song's about, is the isolation, but like it, almost being proud to be isolated. It's
Okay.
because, just like I'm just to myself, I'm independent, and I just can't relate to anyone around me. So that's was kind of just like, was sitting during COVID times and just looking at the world, watching it burn, and just
Yeah.
being like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Get the marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool as hell. You want to tell me a little bit about your writing approach? I mean, as far as like this song or any songs, how does that come about? You you bring some riffs to the table. You show Tim.
Yeah, so this one was a little bit different than most of our other songs because it was written a lot early on. Like this is one of our earlier songs, and honestly, a lot of these on here are, they're pretty
The ones you've had time to perfect.
exactly,
Right, okay.
refine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Tim wrote this one, and it was mostly me and him that did it. It was like we kind of like bounce riff ideas off of each other, and it's like sometimes we'd get a starting with foundation like together, and this is actually how it works like now with like our current drummer, because like mostly me and my drummer like will write most of the riffs and stuff, and then like usually Tim and Kyle will come up like the lyric stuff and kind of bring it in like after that. But it was kind of the same process with Tim too. I just kind of like we started it together. I get a foundation. Sometimes I take that idea home and work on it a little bit, like the getting the more finer parts like the riffs
the
and stuff.
details about
Exactly.
like
I was
the
gonna
little
say
fills and shit.
Mhm.
In practice, you can always
Fill
get
A,
the,
fill B.
You get the chunks
Yeah.
in, but it's like I didn't like that note at practice, or you listen to it back,
Mhm.
whatever. You know what I mean? You'll kind of
Yep. And
for
we
sure.
like to do it that way because sometimes when you're just like kind of in your own space, like writing alone, sometimes it just doesn't work well in a band setting. So like I feel like it's good to get that first foundation idea kind of with someone else, who's also in the band, and just make sure like, hey, is this going to work? You
Yeah.
think the drums will work with this, or
Yeah.
you think other things will work with this? Because when you get like just too far into yourself, like too much, like I've thought of a lot of great ideas that way, but I feel like I write my better ideas, and come up with better stuff with other people,
And you're also in a band, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what being in a band is.
Exactly.
It's not like
It's the ultimate group project.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
it's
I
like,
know-
hey, can you guys play my solo project with me? Like I've
Yeah.
learned that the hard way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
I was that
absolutely.
guy growing up. Like, hey, I know my riffs are fucking sweet. Check these out. Play this. You
Well-
know. But that's kind of how I work too. Not to go on to me, but
Yeah, no, you're
I-
good.
Just lately, like with writing with Iron Sharpens Iron, like I'll come with 3 or 4 really sweet riffs, and I'm just like, what do you guys think about this? Does this
Mhm.
work? How do you guys want to do this? And that just makes it more of all you guys' music, right?
It's
You know
more
what I mean?
organic.
Like, and then you guys are all bought into what you guys are doing instead of just like, yeah, we're just playing
Playing
Cody
Cody's
shit, you
riffs.
know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
This band is
Or
called Cody's
Tim's
Riffs.
stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know
there's,
what I mean?
there's
Like,
there's definitely a lot of bickering back and forth every
Yeah.
now and then
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on certain parts here and there.
Yeah.
And getting people to agree to shit is sometimes the only struggle that we really face, because other than that we gel really well
yeah.
Mhm.
in the writing process.
Yeah, I was
but-
gonna say, with even that, I can't recall us ever having a single serious fight.
Oh no, there's
Nothing-
no,
nothing
no,
even
yeah,
like-
yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
Nothing that's not smoothed over
Yeah.
within 2 minutes. You
Right,
know?
yeah,
like-
for
Seriously.
sure.
And it's not that serious, man. It's music, and
It
you
is.
can't marry your
Yeah.
ideas. Like, you may think it's the best idea ever, but you got 2 or 3 guys in the band that's like, I'd rather do it this way. Then you're probably just save that for your solo record.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know, and that's
the way
why-
I look at
Yeah.
it, and that's
Mhm.
good for you guys being such a young band. You know, being able to realize that and kind of work through those things right away. So when you guys are a band for 5 years, you guys will have your system down to a fucking T,
Solid
you know what I mean?
foundation,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
Yep.
it's just like working out those early
For
kinks.
sure.
So that's cool as hell, man.
Communication is huge early
Oh
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just being able to
Yeah.
agree and,
And
for that matter, disagree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, that,
We've been there.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
you gotta check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah, for sure.
sometimes maybe you just don't have everything 100%, and you need that contribution from everybody else to to get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I also
Mhm.
like the idea of trying it both ways. You want to do it this way. You want to do it this way. Let's see how that sounds together. Let's see how your idea sounds together. And then usually by the end of that, it's like we've tried it both ways. Then you got 2 guys saying, well, I liked it better this way, and then you're kind of like, okay, that's cool. That works.
To
You
me,
know,
that's-
like,
I mean,
I've
that's-
literally heard Cody say 50 plus times verbatim, well, let's try it both ways.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah,
I
all
love
right,
that.
fine.
I love
Mhm.
that. man.
that's part of the
Yeah.
fun of being in a band. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
that's who wants to be in a band with one person dictating everything. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
do that. I mean,
That would suck.
yeah, sure, if you're playing for Steve Vai's backing band or
Right,
something,
yeah, yeah.
that's
you're a
different.
hired gun or something.
Yeah, exactly.
but that's
But-
not what this is.
Right. I mean, that's half the fun, is just getting to jam music with some of your best friends,
Yeah.
and that's how it should feel. You know.
Fuck yeah, man. That's
Mhm.
awesome. So you guys ready for the second track?
Yeah.
Fetish for Dismemberment. So
It's what it
this-
sounds like.
What's
Okay.
this one about?
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a 180 as far as
Are we
like,
printing
lyrical
lyrics for
direction.
this one? Or?
That's maybe.
hey, I'm all for it, man.
Can't hurt my feelings.
Bring the brutal for me, man. Are you guys ready? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, fucking yeah.
Heard some really cool bass playing at the end of there.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
That was
Thank
sweet.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
I like a
Walking all over
bassist
the bass.
that's going to come in there and not copy the guitarist.
Yeah.
Like, please, as a guitarist over here, Cody, let Tim do some work. You know, like let him.
Oh man, that's
like let him
that's
walk
half
the dog.
reason-
You know,
that, when he kind of like re-entered the band, that was like the biggest reason, is I knew Tim would kind of like more or less do his own thing.
yeah, you
know,
gotta have.
and it's like-
Otherwise, what the fuck? Just play a guitar, man. If you're,
Yeah,
if you're just gonna
100%.
copy Cody, just play guitar, right, Tim?
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
bring some
No.
fucking bass lines, please. Thank you. I appreciate your
Mhm.
work. I could hear you good there. It was
Thank
good.
you so much. I appreciate that. I think like you know, a good bassist like sometimes is just knowing like being able to choose decisively of like, oh, this is the part where I just need to stay in the pocket,
Yup.
keep it simple, stick to
Mhm.
the roots, and then this is the part where I can really embellish and really like bring the song some character that
Yeah,
it might
yeah.
otherwise be lacking. Like instead of just, you know, sticking to the mold, like that's really easy to do, but like, you know, trying to think outside of the box and try to think of more creative ways that you can add life to a song. I feel like is what your role as a bassist should be. But then sometimes what makes the song best is just sticking in the pocket,
Yeah.
and that's cool too. You know,
Yeah, for sure. Just so you guys know, I know you guys don't know Nick because he doesn't play in Iron Shepard, but he is a fucking badass bass player.
Oh, okay.
this
Oh,
is-
right on.
This right here is our band that we've been in for
ever.
Yeah,
Well,
like
oh,
15
Oh,
years
okay.
old.
Yeah,
Infinite
I've heard.
Design.
Yep,
So
I've heard you
like,
guys.
it's like technical death metal stuff,
Oh,
like or whatever.
okay.
But Nick is a badass bass player, so
Well,
he's
thanks
gonna
for saying that, Jason.
he's gonna hear.
I'm
gonna
a
hear
hater.
that. That's why he
Okay.
was all over that right
So
now.
I
right?
appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
I stole his thunder. I was like, bass.
That's my
I
part.
knew he was gonna say that. Oh fuck, sorry, Nick.
Nice.
I forgot.
Tim, one of the phrases that Jason and I have learned and use on the show almost every show frequently now is less is more, and that goes to your point about staying in the pocket. As a bassist, like sometimes you can just like trample the mix trying to do what Cody's doing,
Mhm.
or trying to like just keep up with the music when you could just be like low key doing next to nothing,
Mhm.
or just a couple of with the kick drum. Just
Mhm.
lock in real syncopated, and you're like, wow, that's so much more impactful. Like doing way less
Yeah.
on the bass, just
Yeah.
give it that punch. So I think that's something that goes to your point too. And then finding that space where you can pull out a bass line and walk the dog over Cody's chord progression. The second thing I wanted to say, and it's Kyle, right? Yes,
Yep,
Kyle, thank
yep.
you. The vocals remind me of like dude from Between the Buried and Me. In a good way, like, because I love that dude's vocals. So, like, I'm not 100%, but I'm getting like certain vocals from you where I'm like, oh man, he's taking me to like that old school BT Bam vibe, like when they were more on the Fry vocal than they are these days. Well, they still do
Hey.
it, but
No,
like,
I appreciate that. What I hear through Cody's mix is what the fuck is it? Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. Honestly,
Nice.
yeah. Just the way that I'm like, oh shit.
so
That's Kino Der Toten, dude, or whatever.
is there a backup vocalist among you guys to help him out on stage?
Not yet. We're working on it because I'm a vocalist. I have another band that I actually am this lead singer of. So that is going to be like the next step in our process is that I'm going to start doing some of those backing vocals. So
Okay.
like some of those overdubs
Yep.
and stuff that he does,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing live.
Hell
We
yeah.
just haven't had the ability to really hone in on that yet. So
Yeah.
when we do, that's the plan going forward.
And I think Kyle, that'll give you a little bit more freedom when you're writing vocal patterns and stuff too, to be like, yeah, I want this layered.
Oh, 100%.
Without like having to think about, well, live we can't really translate that, so maybe I only do it for the record or whatever. And then that kind of juices it up. A little.
Right, for
So,
sure. Yeah, no, playing it as the record is, or as close to that, I think is ultimate goal for a lot of people. So obviously there's layers, and then having somebody as talented as Tim be able to come on and even offer that for the future really is exciting.
Hell yeah. You play 7 strings?
No, just 6 string. But
fuck yeah.
I'm a big
Keep
fan
it
of
classic, buddy.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, you got some heavy riffs. That's kind of why I asked. Because
Appreciate that,
like,
man.
I really like your riffs, man. They're fucking brutal. The breakdowns are really good. There's some sludginess, some slamminess in there, and that's you're
Mhm.
speaking my language with that. But yeah, I was just wondering. I couldn't remember on stage or not whether you do, because that's kind of like the thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys are kind of some younger guys in a younger band, and everybody kind of wants to do the 7 strings, but. For me, I feel like the downfall with the 7 string is then you start to kind of sound like everybody else when you kind of go down
Yeah.
that road. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just my personal opinion, but I really like your guitar work on this, man. It's
Appreciate
awesome,
that, dude. Thank you. Yeah. We still play in ultra low tuning though. Like, yeah,
Sure,
it's like
sure.
Fair.
this
Yeah.
whole EP is written in G.
Oh, okay.
For the
So-
nerds listening to this, but we play I usually like pretty much exclusively baritones these
Okay. I
days.
was
Like
just
the
gonna
extra
ask
snap.
if
Yeah,
you're
it's
going down to the
Heavy,
bear.
Yeah,
heavy gauge
definitely.
strings too.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
bass
Not
strings.
falling out.
It's like a 70.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty chunky, but I
Yeah.
mean it's not crazy. Like some guys are running like way higher.
Yeah, they're
these
playing
days.
bass strings on their guitar.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I've heard
yeah.
that. I've heard 7-string guitars using like
Oh yeah.
bass strings
Mhm.
on the lower.
Yeah, it's not
on the
uncommon
lower.
these
Yep.
days. So it's for really like back in the day it would have been like an extreme range, but these days it's like kind of just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And there, I get it for the tones. You want to be so heavy or whatever, but man, if you could make a 6-string heavy, just fucking
Yeah,
make a
I
6-string
mean,
heavy.
yeah.
Fuck,
The biggest
you know,
reason I
mean,
never really got into 7s, I just never gotten used to the neck, honestly. Like I like playing the lower strings and the lower tunings, and like playing those lower in the lower tunings actually encouraged me to use my whole fretboard. Like just about every song in this, even though it may not sound like I use just about every string, but actually like it works more towards my range
there you
anyway,
go.
and just I don't know, just kind of worked better for me as a guitar player. you know?
Yeah, I like that. Well, I went to the If He Dies, He Dies show last night. Obviously, this will come out
Hell yeah.
on 11:30. But when I was back hanging out with those guys, they play in they literally play in the Alice in Chains tuning half step down and then
Drop
dropped or
D or
whatever.
drop D flat,
So
yep.
like, and they're heavy as shit. So it's like it just goes to show it's about your writing in
Oh,
your
yeah.
right hand. Like you don't have to play a 7-string. You don't have to play down tunings
No.
to be heavy. You know.
Well,
so.
I'm looking
Tone.
at a Death Flag right now. I mean, how many riffs written by Death were like even remotely that?
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean,
I think
they're
think
one
he-
step down basically.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say D
exactly. I mean,
standard.
it's like
It's basically drop D, but
Yeah.
just D standard is
Yep.
D standard.
is gonna sound the same as anything else.
yeah,
and drop D.
It's
so.
all about just one's own creativity more than
Mhm.
anything. Is
Yeah.
like you can make standard sound heavy if you
Oh, hell
really
yeah.
want to.
yes, you
It's
can.
not.
Yeah, for
Silosis is probably one of the bigger ones that Jay's mentioned. They use the standard tuning. I was mind blown. These guys are out there shredding standard E, like just making it pissy as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he puts his flag in the ground on about that as well too. It's just like, yeah, we play in standard and we play grooves,
and we
so
let you know we play in standard.
it's still heavy. So
Yeah.
All right, cool. Anything else you guys want to say? Oh, real quick before we go. So, Fetish for Dismemberment.
I got this. Don't worry, I'll take it. Right? But,
Well, the juxtaposition between what he was talking about, like a song about isolation and everything, and then we're going into the Fetish for Dismemberment. So we're going into Cannibal Corpse territory.
So
with
yeah,
this, right?
yeah.
So lyrical content, we're not sticking to one.
We're kind of
Oh,
all
no.
over the
I
place
love
lyrically.
that too.
Yeah.
I love that. Write about what you feel. You know. I mean,
Yeah, well-
write about what's coming up.
This one was all me. Honestly, Cody came with the title. He's like, what about something like Fetish for Dismemberment? We wanted to make something just as gratuitous as possible.
fuck
Yes.
And just be like, fuck it, we're a metal band.
Yeah,
yep.
But also, I feel like if they knew what they were headbanging to, and by they, I mean like the crowds, they'd be like, wait, hold up a second. Right? Hold on a minute. Right. So that's like by far the most gratuitous shit that we probably necessarily even will put out.
Yeah.
I don't see myself topping that one.
It would be hard to. And honestly, like that's where the name from the EP came as well. Because as we were talking about like writing the song, it was in the process of the writings. This one's midpoint, I'd say, as far as like our writing process. We were all together for this one, like as our current, lineup. And Tim was like, you mentioned something about like the translation of that actually being Guro.
Yeah, like there's like a whole subgenre of pornography called Guro, and it's all like animated.
Yeah.
it's not real people. It's animated.
Well,
It's
that
a
makes-
sub form of hentai.
That makes
Right.
it perfectly okay.
You're right. Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
For the kids.
Real people aren't being harmed.
They gotta learn somewhere.
We can't justify this one, boys, no matter how hard we try.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I
mean,
I get it. It's
it's
all
extreme
art.
metal.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You know.
We're a death metal band. It's not
Yeah.
like we're reinventing the wheel here.
No,
I mean,
I
it's
get
not.
it.
It's what the themes that we're talking about in that particular song have been discussed and written about at length for
Oh,
30
yeah,
years.
nauseam.
you know?
I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge Infinite Annihilator
Yeah.
fan, so
Sense.
yeah,
Like,
that was in mind when
Okay, that's
writing
cool.
this one. Yeah,
No, that's cool.
Yep.
Sometimes you just got to go for the jugular with that.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the trad.
It was
death
gone
song.
for.
That's
Yeah.
the trad.
Yeah,
death
we
song.
just
Yeah,
had
I
some
get it.
fun with this
Yeah,
one.
fuck yeah, man.
That's
No,
really
no.
what it was all about.
It's all
Yeah.
art. It's subjective anyway. and It's like
100%.
fucking dude. If you're gonna write a heavy song, why not have a fetish for
Yeah.
dismemberment?
And we were so
I don't
like,
I don't feel like it's. I'm not saying you
That's-
guys have to defend it. I
No.
I live in this world.
This is
fellas.
the one I was like worried about. I was like, I don't know, man. We might. Yeah.
we named the EP after it, basically.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's how
that's
far
basically
it's
the
gone.
title track.
Yeah.
I get it. I've had I wrote a lot of the lyrics for the last album that Jay and I put out, and I had some trepidation about like some of the content of my own lyrics. I was like, holy fucking shit, I can't believe I'm anxious about my own art. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like I don't want to like confuse or upset people. That's not the intent here, but also this is death metal, and if you don't have a fucking sense of humor about like what is being said right here, right now, then get the fuck out, because I am
it's
not,
not for
I am
you.
not advocating
Yeah,
anything that's
yeah.
being said here. I'm just saying like, here we
Right.
go into the world of crazy. You guys ever seen a horror movie? We do it to audio. over here.
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
what
I think
it
Cannibal Corpse said it best kind of back in the day. It's like, I think the reason why a lot of these songs can be hard to interpret like that, especially back in like when they were first starting, is a traditional song is an experience or a story about your own life. You know, something that could actually happen, maybe something that has happened,
Sure.
a fantasy of sorts, maybe. And that's when like the style shifts, is you're turning it into singing about something that you never want to do,
Right.
You would never encourage, but it's a fairy tale, you know.
Sure.
It's a
Yeah.
story. It's similar to how a horror movie's written,
Exactly.
you know, and that's
It's-
that's the fun of it,
Yeah.
you know.
What I like about go ahead, Nick.
No, no,
You was gonna-
you.
Okay, what I was gonna say though is like going back to the difference between song 1 and song 2. It's not like every song is like Cannibal Corpse lyrics type of song. You know
No.
what I mean?
Right.
Like, each
Yeah.
song's got its own identity, its own unique styling of vocal, its own unique theme, right? So
Yeah,
like
that's
I really like that because you guys are kind of still changing it up, too,
Right.
you know. So
There's-
it's not like every song is like about this either. So you know, it's a little different if you're Cannibal Corpse, and that's like you have to sing about that every song, or else people are like, what do you mean you're singing about COVID?
Right.
No,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like there's not like a singular voice, and you know, maybe that melding will happen as we continue to grow as a band, and you know, and we start like he's coming from a different point of view, and then where I'm writing lyrics from a
Go
more
ahead, man.
intellectual, you know, like just really, you know, deep thought out, more introspective point of view. And I do think that like long term, you know, and that might eventually happen, especially considering that like, you know, a good example is like one of my favorite bands of all time lyrically is Pig Destroyer.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Pig Destroyer is they write about grotesque, macabre shit, but it's also so poetic and intellectual and just like it's gorgeous lyrics, but delivered in like the most disturbing ways possible.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's something that I like, you know, I think as we grow as a band and we start melding our different writing styles, that might be the sort of direction that we go to, where it's like he might have a more thematic idea and then I can, you know, put a more poetic language to
There
it.
you go.
And
Yeah,
then,
there you go.
know,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I feel like that's a collaboration we're aware of, and also what you're saying makes me think of Carcass Necroticism, where those lyrics are really dark and macabre, but they're really wordy, like they're really over the top wordy.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what English is this? I had to get out the dictionary.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, there's a word or two. I'm like, it ain't even in the book, Jay.
Yeah.
That word's not in the book of words.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Early Carcass is like out of a medical textbook.
Yeah,
like,
right,
Literally.
exactly,
Like,
yep.
it's-
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
won't
you
even
can-
find it in the dictionary because it's all just
Right,
this
exactly.
obscure scientific like.
But to your point, it's like you can take a dark, like a theme, and then run with it so that it's not just on the nose, point blank. You know,
Yes.
you give it a little bit of allegory and symbolism, and kind of
Exactly.
even hide whatever the meaning or intent might be just behind all this words and imagery, and then just let your fans think whatever they want. Like I'm never going to answer to my lyrics really much at all. I'm just going to be
Yeah.
like, what did you think those lyrics are about? Because
And
I'm curious. 'cause-
I actually like that a lot better, to be honest. Like your interpretation of art, because it means
Mhm.
something different to you. Even you guys in the band know what it's about, but it
Mhm.
also has its own meaning between all of you guys, you know. And that's one thing that Nick and I have always done too. It's like I may hate. Hey, I want to write a song about this, but I usually kind of let him tackle it because he's very similar to you. That's what's weird, because he's an awesome lyricist too. So it's like I'll write some lyrics, but most of the time it's like, hey, let's write a song about this, and he'll take
Yeah.
my idea and then
Yeah, we've
make it-
collaborated, or
yeah.
Jay's given me like phrases and stuff, or like this is the working title, and this is what I want it to be about, and that makes it easy for me because I'm like, oh, I don't have to think of a topic, which normally like that's the hard part, right? What's the
Yeah.
topic? I want to
Yeah.
I want to sing about something interesting, and Jay had like a litany of topics. He's like, this is these 6 to 8 ideas were this is what they're about, and I'd go, oh, all right, cool, and I'd take it back and fuck with it. He'd have some phrases or something, but yeah, like bouncing the themes and the ideas back and forth between like two lyricists, I just think it makes for a more interesting story. So good on you guys for like realizing that. And I say keep going with it,
Yeah.
like especially like that's a cool idea. How about if I say it like that? Like how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, better than I could have said it. Fucking go with it.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's pretty essentially the strategy going forward as we
Yeah.
continue to write.
It's a good realization too.
And then writing lyrics is one thing. Before we jump to this next one, Kyle, how do you do that then as far as like your phrasing and stuff? Because I know at times you're going to have to cut things out. And I'm sure as you mature as a vocalist and songwriter and start working on different patterns and, you know what I mean, come into your own, you're going to have to chop some of that out or work some of that around, because you can sing every lyric, but then you're just singing every lyric over the song, and then it just kind of doesn't have its place or pattern or make sense, you know?
Yeah, so I would say live, if I'm distracted, I allow myself to be a little bit distracted. Like we had some dudes doing some WWE wrestling in the pit the last show, and I just was like, I missed a couple phrases here and there, and that was fine. But as far as coming up with the phrasing, I grew up listening to like a lot of rap and shit like that as well. So Cody's pulled his hair out over it a few times, but like, who would think to da 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 like that? And I'm like,
I love it when
that's a normal rap shit.
Yeah.
I love it when the vocalist goes rapid fire in death metal. It's almost like they're going to spit bars at
Oh,
me, but
yeah.
on a fry vocal. I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
Oh, like Arcspire?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, man.
Samatilla, yeah.
Yep.
That Hunt for the Dinosaur
Yes.
Band or whatever.
I like those moments.
Hunt
I
the
just like them to
Dinosaur.
be carefully placed so that you're not nonstop machine gun vocaling through
Yeah.
like
Oh,
verses.
yeah, I would
think-
die. I would die.
Yeah,
Right?
like,
You
you
could
just-
do that for the whole
another one, Decrepit Birth. I look at Decrepit Birth lyrics, and I'm like, there's no fucking way he's saying all that. That's impossible. There's no way. It's just it's like machine gun fire from his mouth.
It's more or less like, hear the lyrics, this is what they're about, and then like there might be three lyrics that are missed when I'm doing the actual vocal pattern. You're like, there's no way you said that. That sounded like one syllable, and you just had like 9 syllables
one
right
growl.
there.
I will say, and that's where Kyle and I really that's where that melding comes from. Is we both have like a significant hip hop influence.
Oh yeah, we bonded
We-
over Odd Future.
Love it.
we both
Hardcore.
love hip hop. So
Yeah,
like
nice.
so like bringing that influence into but not like I don't know. I
Like
don't
new
want,
metal.
I don't
Yeah.
want to throw that. I don't want to throw any bands under the bus. But there's a lot of bands who like go way overboard in bringing hip hop influence. I'll put
Yeah.
it. That's the politically correct way to put it. But
Right.
we're not trying to do that by any means. But being able to like be clever with wordplay and be clever with phrasing and the way things come across and how it relates to the instrumental. Like that's something that we have a very similar influence on for sure.
I think if every show, if a couple people, maybe 2 or 3 times a show go, yo, what the fuck did he just do? Then I'm happy.
Yeah, that's
know?
cool. Yeah.
We've done our job.
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Attaboy.
All right, cool. We are going to get into this third song here. It's called False Prophet. And is there anything you guys want to say about this song before we start, or you want to just discuss it after we
Is
check
this
it out?
technically our first one we ever
This is
written?
technically our first real single that wasn't just a Bandcamp.
It
deal.
was our second song, I think.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I mean that you and I wrote.
Maybe. You
I think
you
it might
probably
be
have
the
better
first
memory
one.
of that than I would.
Yeah, I think
honestly.
it might have been our first one that we
Mhm.
really started.
I think
kicking around,
so.
Yeah.
Memories.
Okay, cool.
Cody had to clear his
100%.
temp folders in his head on this
Like,
one.
seriously.
Ask him about anime though,
Yeah,
and
clear-
he'll.
Clear the cache so we can.
Wow. So that's going to be your refrigerator across the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
I love it.
I-
I just feel like the jaw came unhinged. Like just
I want to say I like the fact that like you don't do that in every song either. So like
No,
that
I
stood
couldn't.
out to me.
I would die.
Like,
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
a pig vocal in there, so that
Mhm.
was cool. Like
Oh yeah, get used to that one for the
breed.
next one. Hey.
But I like how you decided not like that's one thing. Like one of the other pet peeves of vocals is like, hey, I can do 35 different vocals. Let me throw them in every single song all
Right.
the time. And it's like, no, save that shit for like specific parts. Now that part stuck out to me because
right.
that's when you do that fucking super low guttural fucking refrigerator.
And
then you do the
yeah. Thanks to
you
Cody
know.
for reeling me in on that stuff because I'm a deathcore kid through and through. So
Yeah.
I would totally do it all the time if he wasn't like nah. Sometimes
just
Yeah.
did that.
Sometimes you gotta throw the lasso out and just
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
come
you
on,
do.
come back
Yeah.
in, come
Yeah.
on.
We've come up with some of our best vocal ideas, just like me and Kyle, like laying some of these songs out, like on recording for
Okay.
the first time. It's like, what if we did this? What if we did this?
Yeah.
We have so much fun when we like record vocal sessions. Honestly, it's like, honestly, like I'm not knocking on the other guys when we do recording sessions. It's like the most fun ones. honestly.
Taco Bell's at
vocals
the
are
end
fun.
and all
Well,
that. Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it's always about writing something memorable because if I hear 45 vocals in a row, like I'm not going to remember it. Like it's not going to stick out to me. It's just going to sound like the other 6 songs that are on the album, you know? So it's like if you have those little moments that stick out or little patterns that stick out to me, it's like then later I'm like listening later it's in my head and I'm like, yeah, that part was fucking cool because it's different than the other thing. So you got to
Right.
sometimes, you know, it's just about putting like going back to the bass thing or going back to whatever. It's like sometimes you just got to put the ego down and serve the song. Like
yeah.
like Tim was saying.
Yep,
You know,
and just to kind of preface like a timeline onto this, this was recorded when I was still working on high vocals, like so, and since it's been recorded, what's it been? Quite a while now.
3
since-
months?
Well, yeah.
4
But, I mean,
months?
live.
Something like that.
I mean, you were there live. I mean,
Yeah.
the highs are up there now, but
Yeah.
even just during the recording of this, it's like everything's evolving so
Oh, yeah.
fast now.
Yeah. Looking forward to the
w-
next
oh,
one. Now,
for
you know?
sure,
Yes,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, there's a great diversity in the vocal range. I love it. I love that you're not a two-tone Timmy. I get so bored.
No offense, Tim.
Not that Tim.
Yo, his bass tones are lit, right?
But if
One tone Tim.
yeah, when it's like nonstop lows, and then you're gonna jump to that high for a line, but then all you got is the low all day. Like I get bored of your shit real quick if that's what you're doing. Like if you're a vocalist and you only bring in like 1 or 2 tones to the vocal thing, just quit. Just stop. Just stop. Like it's so tiresome to listen to somebody want to be Glenn Benton or Chris Barnes or something. It's like
oh yeah.
those guys they're long in the tooth. They're allowed to do it. They've been here since the 80s fucking doing it. I need to hear what Kyle's doing from vocalists. If we're going to do extreme music, I need
really
to have
appreciate that.
I really
Yeah.
need to have like 5 to 10 different voices. And to Jay's point too, some of those you got to be selective about, especially if they're the harder ones or your favorite ones that really like, holy shit. You don't want to do those in every single song. You want to find ones like the song where that vocal matches that lyric, which leads me to this question. I wanted to ask, when do you decide to double up the vocals in the song? Is it based on timing or is it based on that lyric needs to be more vicious?
It's really based on at this point because we have so many songs in the pipeline and we've played it live so many times. So by the time we actually get to recording, we've done it live 10 times plus. So there's just a way that things fall in live where everything makes sense.
Mhm.
So honestly, these recordings are mostly based off of how they sound live. But when we're actually deciding when to go back through and layer everything, it's really just based on our taste in the moment. It's really impulsive. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
It's
that's cool.
super
Yeah.
impulsive. It's in the moment, everything. That's why
We-
the
based on
recording
this-
sessions are so fun.
Yeah, it's based on necessity usually. I'd say it's more towards the second part. It's like we're going back and like listening to a take, and it's just like it'd be cool if like the end of this line punched more.
Right,
And it's like add like a double up onto the end of it. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like usually like it's more like kind of like listening to it. But like also what Kyle said, it's just like some parts just hit harder live because you're putting more into it.
Right.
You're in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The live adrenaline is where the magic is made for
Right.
sure on these recordings.
So tell me a little bit about the formula for writing. I know we went into it a little bit earlier, but how Like, as far, do you have a formula? Do you guys say, hey, I want to do like a verse, chorus? Are we just putting riffs together? Because I notice you guys do come back to some riffs, but it doesn't seem like there's I don't want to say cookie cutter, because I'm a pretty cookie cutter guy, but I want to hear hooks, choruses, verses. Like, I'm always about pulling it back. Do you have a formula that you write, or are you just like, this riff's cool, or how do you go about doing that?
Honestly, there's not much of a formula, to tell you the truth. Like, it's just, we want to make songs that sound cool for us,
Yeah.
And some of them do incorporate like a little bit, like you said, like back and forth a little bit from one riff to another, kind of like a verse, chorus, verse. But like, at the end of the day, it's also just, kind of the necessity of the song. Like, each of them kind of have their own different taste. And I don't think for any two songs we have like any kind of like real similar like structure as far as they go. And we kind of like it that way, honestly. It's just, it's sort of impulsive, but like, the foundation of like, death metal really, and kind of a lot of heavy music is just like, kind of fooling around until you find a cool sound and noise, or a cool sound and riff, and kind of just throwing that in there. And that's why I like, a lot of our, our new songs that we're writing, and like anything in the past, like I'd say like 6 to 9 months. It's all, we try to like write it with another person, like try to get like, another guy to jam with. It's just, I think that's where your best ideas come from, is just kind of like, jamming it out and just having fun with it.
Yeah.
The formula is saying to someone, and do you think it would be cool if we did this?
Yeah,
that's the
there you go.
formula.
That's it. Like,
And then let's try it both ways.
exactly. Like, let's try it a few different ways, see which one sounds best. Like there are, and a lot of times, like, when we go back to another riff, it's like, it's a good riff. We didn't play it enough this
Right.
song.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back for the end, but slower.
That's the one.
Bring it back, but slower.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I always. That's why I like write 4 or 5 good riffs and then like repeat them. That's where I live, because I'm like, you can write a lot more songs, because if you're just writing one riff, and they're all cool, it's like, man, that could be like 3 songs right there. Like, you're kind of like doing more work than you need to do, type of thing. But hey, everybody's got their own formula. It's whatever you're feeling is what you're feeling.
I
So
like how there's. Go ahead. I was gonna say, I like how there's callbacks, but you'll string together like 3-4 riffs that you're not gonna hear again, and then you'll come to that callback, that riff that you've already played once or twice. And you're like, yeah, this is the one you already know, and then you'll go into like 3 or 4 new riffs, and it inspired 10 riffs to go with it. So that's why this song's got like 15 riffs in it, but one or two that we really like, that are the foundation of the song, and then all these other bits and pieces that we added along the way to make them something between them, So.
And just know that's going to evolve too, because you guys are young yet. You guys are just 1 year as a band or whatever. You guys are going to probably come to the point where it's like, well, let's try something completely different next time. You know what I mean? Like, you may have 10 songs now, but
And
like,
I hope so.
Yeah. After you're playing for 3-4 years, you're going to be like, yeah, maybe this formula that we started with 3 years ago isn't what we're going to be doing anymore.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that's kind of what we did.
Oh,
We literally fucking played to outplay everybody. Like, we sweeps, fucking taps, anything you could not play, we played.
Yeah,
we
anything
tried
you
to
can do,
play.
I can do better.
And then we got out of that. Like, we were like, let's just try to write a good song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that becomes more challenging down the line than fucking string it, because we did that too. Like, fucking riff.
We'd play to
know?
our skill ceiling all the time.
Yeah,
we'd be
like,
right at it, like just all the time, be as good as you can all the time. And then I was like, man, it's hard to keep the pace when you're trying to be as good as you can 100% of the time. Why can't I just hit like an open chord progression that's really easy but still fucking slaps? Like, let's get to that point.
Yeah.
And that'll evolve,
Also.
I'm sure, for you guys too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
100%.
It's there.
And that kind of segues into like the last song, kind of, because like honestly, like me and Tim have been in and out of bands together for, it's been 15 years now.
Long time.
It's been 15 years this year, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We've known each other for ages.
Yeah. The first band I was ever in, it was Tim was my bass player and vocalist. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for this band, honestly, there are a lot of things that we can play that are a lot more technical that we don't.
Sure. Sure.
It's like, but it's kind of like, out of necessity. Again, it's like, play what the song, is going to benefit from the most.
It's good self-awareness.
Well, we also emphasize stage energy.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the kind of band that, because our songs are so technical that we have to stand in place to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
We want to engage with the crowd, and we want to give ourselves the room to be a little bit sloppy when we need to, because we want to be a much
real.
more genuine live experience. as opposed to, there's a lot of bands, and there's nothing, like you brought up Between the Buried to me, like,
They
those
probably
guys ain't
stand
moving around
still.
on
Yeah.
the stage. But their music is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of that band. I love them incredibly. And they're so technically precise.
Yeah.
But they can't
They're
do
gargoyles.
exactly. They can't do what we do, which is engage with our audience a lot more, and that's what we aim to do.
The technicality isn't something that always needs to be there. It's like, do what's right for the song, and you're doing that with your guitar. I do want to just put in a little caveat. You're using an octave pedal, because I heard a
Yeah. So I call it my poor man's whammy.
I love that thing.
It's a well, I use the Electro Harmonics pitchfork, which it's usually used for like drop tuning and stuff, kind of similar to the drop pedal. But it's got a couple different features where you can have the switch as a latch switch, so it only activates the feature of the pedal while you have the switch pressed down, and when you let off, it goes off. And I have it like 2 octaves up, blended at like 60%.
Okay.
So as soon as I press the pedal down, it's that wee. Goes right up to the 2 octave, blended 60. And as soon as I lay off of it, so like I'd actually rather prefer to have that than the whammy. I've said this multiple times. That way I don't have to worry about the travel of the pedal itself. Just quick on off with my foot.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Tom
like
Morello
that.
uses the same pedal.
Yeah,
actually.
it's the one pedal I have on my board. Like other than like, I just use like a processor basically, and it's the one actual pedal that I need that doesn't come included, into the big board.
That's awesome. I just noticed that, so I wanted to ask about that.
No, I
'cause
appreciate you
like
asking. That's my little secret weapon. So I'm kind of glad you said something.
I like that shit. So cool. All right, so let's get into song number 4, Eternal Agony. You guys ready?
This is the regressive deathcore.
This is as a regressive. This is like knuckle dragging caveman song.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Oh yeah, this is the anchor for a reason.
Hell yeah. Here we go. Very nice. Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I still chuckle when I listen to that one.
you have to.
So for your vocal takes, are you taking those like two things on the vocal still? One, enunciation. I've noticed that like if you kind of listen close, you can kind of hear what you're saying. So that's kind of cool. Like
Yeah,
I
that
can
was,
make out like a lot of the lyrics. Like I obviously not on the toilet bowls and not on the
Right,
like
right.
The fridge.
Yeah,
So that's actually
the pig vocals and stuff. But like
in my mind, that's kind of like a problem that I have, is I take everything a little bit too literally. So would I like to start transferring into more toilet bowls actually than
Or a fan.
enunciation or whatever? It has its place.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't think toilet bowls are made to understand what you're saying.
yeah,
That's
no, they're
Yeah,
not. And
it's
that's
not.
that's
I know.
yeah.
I know what a toilet
What
bowl's
is it?
for.
What
Yeah,
is a toilet bowl? Actually, I don't
Oh,
know.
you know.
No, I
You
don't.
know.
I don't know. Actually,
Is that the fridge mover vocal? The fuck.
Oh man, I fucking love that shit.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I mean,
I've never heard
it
that
totally
phrase
has its place
before.
though. But yeah,
Yeah.
the enunciation I think is a lot of people comment on that. Like the original person who recorded the Gore Throne, which was my original project. He was like, yo, I can hear like everything you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to. That kind of sucks. But, you know, but.
No, I think it's a good thing because then it sticks with you. If I understand at least most of it, like because you're like for me to get better or whatever, you know. What I mean? Like,
oh, sick.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
perfect.
Look at that. So it's like, I mean, I also have a trained ear. I've been doing this for a while.
That's
so like,
that
another guy
does
might,
evolve, yeah.
an
Right.
average listener might be like, "What the fuck is he saying?" Like,
He said he
definitely how it
wants to
goes
get
with metal.
better. Fucking listen,
Mom,
asshole.
right? But-
open up your damn ears.
Yeah.
It's clear as day. I don't
Clear.
know
Are you-
how you could have missed it.
Are you even listening to the same song?
Right.
Fucking pay
clear
attention.
to me. No, I think that's cool. I love the enunciation, especially with the like fry vocal or whatever, and then like it has its time and place, like you said. But
Yeah,
I,
for sure.
I honestly appreciate it. So, but let's go into the vocal takes. So when you're taking the vocals, because you have these phrases that kind of go on and on for a little bit. So is that something that like are you chopping these vocal takes up, or how does that look?
For album's sake, yes. Live, no biggie
You're right,
to
yeah.
run to
Yeah.
one take that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also know exactly where I have to breathe.
Mhm.
Like there's that big sip of breath that right,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's rapid fire,
Yeah, yeah.
because we got that groove spot in there that is really even on my lyrics, because I wrote my lyrics specifically to play live. On my lyrics in parentheses it says, take a deep breath here because this part's gonna fucking suck.
Oh, nice.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
that's badass, man.
Yeah, that and for that, I think when we recorded that one, it was this song and another one on this EP where the last like third or fourth of all the vocal takes you one took it. And I'm pretty sure this is one of them.
Yeah,
that
this
whole
and,
ending part's
this and
just
Fetish.
one
Yeah,
take
whole
at
the whole ending of it. I was just like, let's get it done,
Just
man.
get it.
Yeah,
yeah,
just get it
one
done.
take,
Hell yeah.
So-
That's badass.
couple
Cody-
layers, but
Cody, I wanted to tell you, like with the riffs, man after my own heart. Like I just, they're
Thank you,
so
man.
fucking like mean and angry, and I just see myself as a bassist going home and picking up my guitar and trying to write riffs that Cody should have on his next album. Hey, Cody, check it out, man. These are good riffs. I want you to
I
play.
appreciate that,
'Cause-
man.
yeah,
Thank
some-
you.
I like what I'm hearing. Just in the riff department alone, like yes, thank you. So I just wanted to put that out there, man. Like the guitar work, the
Yeah, man, I
songwriting,
appreciate
like
that.
it's cool, man. I fucking love it. I
Thank you,
can't
thank
say
you.
what the music reminds me of enough, though. I mean, God, I might have to think about like what I was. I didn't want to like.
To me,
do
it's
a diss-
regressive brutal deathcore. Dude.
Thank you. Yeah. See, I haven't.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent.
I'm
of
not
that,
familiar
yeah.
enough, I guess. Like it sounds like if Obituary was like way heavier. Like there's something about like
We've kind of heard that before.
yeah, it's like you're faster.
Suffocation, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah, I'd have to
something
listen
that
to more
has slam
Suffocation
riffs
quite
like
a
that.
bit.
Yeah, you're definitely like heavier and more like closer to slam. You know, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
there's some slam, there's some groove, there's some breakdown, there's a
Jay's way better at this part.
Actually,
of the
when,
song than I
when,
am.
when Cody dropped this, just the instrumental, just the ideas into the drive, and was like, "Hey, take a listen to this, guys." It was called Slam City USA.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
I'll just
No.
like name them something, to keep track of them, and it's just
Right.
like yeah,
It's like, cool.
Yeah, no, you got to have something on there. It can't be Untitled 1 through 10.
yeah. I gets confusing
Is that
real
Untitled
quick.
9? Is that the one you're talking about?
No,
This
Untitled
next
8,
song
Jack.
is
It's not.
called
Yeah.
Untitled 4.
So what does practice routine look like for you guys?
Usually once a week. We run out of spot right now at the good old Fortress here in town. So a little, rehearsal space, and usually every Tuesday we all meet up. Sometimes it's just me and Zach, honestly, if we're working on new songs. Our drummer, the one guy who couldn't make it here today. But a lot of times, like if we don't have anything going on, we're not preparing for a gig, we don't really need to run all the songs, we'll just kind of have like a writing practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually every Tuesday, pretty religiously, unless we didn't do last Tuesday because we just had a gig. But I feel like every band knows that feel. It's like you just had
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
You
you're
gig,
loading equipment,
yeah.
setting it all back up and
Mhm.
shit. That's a whole fucking I get
Fiasco.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we normally
almost
take a
need a
week
week.
off after a gig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Usually need it. So
Body needs it more than
all
anything.
right. So what's next for you guys?
Oh man.
We're taking a break for the winter as far as gigs go. We're not
Nice.
really playing anything until softly April-ish, maybe late March. We'll kind of see what's up, But we really want to, since these songs are kind of a little bit earlier on in our foundation, we are really working on we've got a couple songs right now that we've written that we are really feel we've kind of really entered into our groove, our vein, really finding our spot, and it's kind of more along the lines of Eternal Agony, the last one we listened to, because I'd say as far as the whole EP goes, that's the newest one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we're kind of really feeling like we're finding our niche, and we really want to kind of delve towards that. It's funny kind of what you said about when you're in the songwriting process, we're accumulating this small song riff graveyard of we're like, okay, we tried to do it, didn't work, but then we'll get one, and then it's like, okay, this one does work. This one works really, really well. And we've gotten some of our best ideas out of that process. So we want to really get we have two ones right now that are, we think two of our best songs.
Which ones?
Yeah.
Offering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Offering,
So
yeah.
mhm,
Well,
just-
and it's kind of funny that there's a 3-step evolution of what's happened so far. Is the first iteration of songs were mostly written by Cody and I, and then the second generation of the band was
mhm.
these guys getting together before I rejoined and writing songs. And so now the third step of our evolution is going to be us all writing songs together again,
Nice.
so
Yeah.
I think that's kind of part of the evolutionary process
Yeah,
of our
100%.
story,
Hell yeah.
together. So
That's awesome. So taking the winter off and then hit some shows in the spring, summer, kind of promote the EP, and then any plans to record anything new after that, or just haven't even? That's a little far down the horizon.
Well, yeah, actually, we don't want to put anything out there as far as any kind of real deadline or anything,
Right, yeah,
obviously. But we actually would like to have another 4-song, possibly before we even start playing shows in the spring, probably around the same time, honestly. Because we have 2 of them pretty much written. Well, one of them's for sure written. One's 90%, and we just basically have another 2 we want to fill. We would like to put out a full album one of these days, but for right now, just kind of putting out medium-sized bites,
Yeah.
It's better for our workflow. I feel like it's easier to digest sometimes,
Yeah, for sure, that's the
and-
world we live in now too.
Yeah.
They're
I
just so small.
I feel like you
offerings,
did catch us in a weird spot because it's none of us really like driving very far in the winter. I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys understand that, but
Yeah.
also
we're the same way.
Also, at this point, now that the EP is finished, now we can focus on writing more stuff. But also,
Mhm.
the biggest thing for me is going to be getting Tim on backup vocalists or backup vocals.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
because I think that any band that has a legitimate backup vocalist sounds way tighter.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think that that's an extra element that could really, really benefit us. But
Yeah.
that's, it takes so much practice
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that. So
Yeah, for sure.
now I feel like we're finally at a spot where we've given ourselves a little bit of time. And I think Cody and I are going to work on just some YouTube behind the scenes stuff as well.
Nice. Some
coming
content.
up
Just
here.
keep it
Yep,
rolling.
yep.
Yeah.
Stay
There really is
relevant.
a lot of truth to that. We haven't given ourselves enough time to like truly craft that aspect of like me adding backing vocals. So like having the time and discipline of truly adding that as part of our overall sound is something that like we really want to do, and we just haven't, because we always have a gig, or we always are right. We're always doing something, and there's never enough time to just focus on that. And so
slow
then,
it down a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like, the end result will be hopefully a more overall polished product.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. And I'm sure with you learning from all of this, you said there's trials and tribulations. Like you guys being able to crank out another 4 will probably go a little bit faster, a little bit smoother, because as you keep learning stuff and you guys get more comfortable, that's just going to be something that your process is going to, obviously there's more tools and things. You'll get distracted. We all do. You're like, oh, look at this new thing, and let's try this new thing,
Right,
and that can set you back. But as far as the overall workflow and you getting comfortable with that, that may lead to you being able to put out stuff a little bit, on a tighter timeline, because you said this took a year, right? So that's probably where you're like, yeah, I don't want to take another year to do 4 songs.
Yeah, 100%,
situation,
man.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
I get that. I've been there, so I understand completely.
Yeah, we definitely have a bit of more of a formula now as far as like the the recording process goes, because like really with this EP we were kind of like teaching ourselves how it goes, but like from the start of the foundation of the band, I really wanted to go at it with we kind of do everything that we can ourselves. It's like it's a lot more cost effective, and just with us being like 4 dudes with full-time jobs and stuff, there's it's really cool, kind of grassroots style.
And the tools are there now to do that. It's not like you have to. Back in the 20 years ago, you had to go to some recording studio.
Right.
Not everybody
Yeah.
has enough to at least make something that can get their ideas out into the world, and it's easy to get on DistroKid and go from there and at least put your music out there. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Because I know for me, I do it for myself, and if other people listen or like it, same with this podcast, cool. But if not, I'm still doing it for myself. So
Right,
fuck
for
y'all.
sure. Yeah, exactly.
That's my attitude.
Fuck 'em.
So
Still
yeah.
play music,
So-
still be here on Sunday. Is there going to
Right.
be physical copies of the music? I'm a little bit old school. I'd like to have a piece of the collection at home. I want to take something from the band home. Generally, that's shirts. That's the idea. Shirts are probably a better moneymaker
Shirts
than
are lit.
physical
Shirts are
media.
lit.
And,
yeah,
and physical media is not very popular, like
That's
unless you
just-
collect LPs or like the vinyl. But
Yeah.
for me, like I love to see it. I don't understand cassettes, but y'all can bring them and sell them. That's cool. I don't understand it. It's the weirdest thing to go back to. Like,
No, I'm
'cause,
with
like-
you.
like
Our
tapes are-
generation spent our time trying to kill cassettes. Why
Yes.
did we try to bring them back?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I
the
fucking
Spice
hate it.
Icon, when I went and seen them last week, they had cassettes. I'm like, what would I do
I
with that?
I want to
know.
ask people if they know that like the
Check out my
cassette tape
cassette.
breaks down over time. Like the quality of the tape just gets worse and worse and worse. And
Right.
worse.
Yeah.
Like literally it is the most hipster move possible.
I hate it.
To have cassettes.
Well,
Well,
I
we
can't
are
hate cassettes.
regressive. So
We are
Yeah.
regressive. Look for the new Goddokira EP out on 8-track,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
take
say,
another
Cody?
step back.
Anything for me to collect one of these days?
Maybe okay. So with other releases, probably this one, probably not,
Okay.
just because it's only 4 songs.
Sure.
We thought like it just maybe might not be worth it putting out a physical for only 4 tracks.
Yeah,
We've kind of like
it is a
threw
cost.
around.
It is a cost.
Yeah, exactly. We thought about throwing around the idea of when we get maybe our next 4 song
Okay.
done, maybe doing like our own split.
I was just gonna say put them
basically.
both on one.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Because like I mean, that's not really anything I've super heard of before, and we kind of, I mean, there's only so much originality left.
Yeah.
I think they call that a compilation album at that point.
You know what? It's
But
cool.
it would be
So,
kind of a flex to
yeah,
do a
two-tone.
Goddokira split, and it's
Yeah.
just 2 halves of
Just
Goddokira.
two our own split.
or part 1 and part 2, whatever. So
Yeah, but we might do something like that in the future. It would probably be CDs, honestly, just 'cause I
Yeah.
kind of agree with you on the same kind of cassette format. I think they are cool to have. I've got a couple old cassettes back from when I was like a kid, like some like Black Sabbath and like some older shit just to like keep.
Yeah.
But as far as like listening to it, I mean, I haven't owned a cassette player since I was like
I'll be real. I don't
12, 13.
even listen to the
maybe.
CDs, bro. I just rip them onto my computer and
Yeah.
then they go to
Yep.
my device in the cloud, whatever. You know?
Exactly.
I just fucking collect
Mhm.
them. I'm not riding around with them in my car visor. Like they just,
Yeah.
like the one-time use out of the tray into the computer, back into the tray on the shelf,
Mhm.
or if it's really cool artwork, I'll display that motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, then it just becomes a
I'm
conversation.
a huge
piece
vinyl
anyways.
collector.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually a huge vinyl collector, but cassettes I can't get. Like vinyl makes sense to me because then I have like the album art huge and it's
Yeah.
blowing up. And,
Yeah.
you know, I got usually a huge booklet full of liner notes and all
Yeah.
that. But a cassette, you still don't even have any of that. So
Nothing.
that's
Which
why I go
pisses
home.
me off because
Yeah.
I just, those boxes were fucking heavy, man.
He helped me move recently and helped me move my entire record collection.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
was
take
like,
up a lot of
what?
space.
Milk crates.
Okay, so we're about going to wrap this thing up here. Is there anything else that you guys want to say about the album or anything that people should know? Where can we find you guys?
It's going to be streaming on all major platforms on December 1st, so Spotify, Apple
So that'll
Music.
be tomorrow once this comes out.
Yep. So it'd
Yeah.
be tomorrow.
Yep.
Essentially, and yeah, you can stream it anywhere: Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music. We'll throw it on Bandcamp probably the day afterwards.
Okay.
Probably just do like the release on the major platforms and add it there as well. But yeah, also, gonna be spitting out some more stuff here pretty soon, hopefully as well. To kind of follow this one up because it was a little bit, of a delay of when we wanted it to be originally released. We were aiming for like 3 or 4 months ago. But yeah. It'll be in the same place as well.
If you want that new, you're going to have to come to our spring shows,
Yep.
2024.
Okay.
Yes,
Hell
and I would like to point out that I'm actually way taller than Kyle. Have you enjoyed sitting
he
much
just got
taller
Yeah,
than I am?
it was a tactical advantage taking the drums too. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add, Nick, or any questions left you had?
No, only that it was a pleasure meeting you guys. And I
Real,
was
you guys too.
really
Thank you so
stoked.
much for
Seriously,
having
this
us
is
on.
Yeah.
very well done. There was a few kind of questions and comments I wasn't really expecting, and that was kind of cool. Like none of us have really done anything like this before, so we weren't quite sure to expect. But
We're making it up as we go.
no,
trust
it's
me.
cool to have like a real conversation with like other musicians
Oh,
about
thanks,
like
yeah.
things that you can identify with the writing process.
Yeah.
And it's cool to talk to you because you kind of know what it's all about.
Yeah.
You kind of speak the lingo
Yeah, yeah.
more or less, and
Yep.
you guys have done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to represent listeners less than musicians because Jay can represent the musicians. He's the producer. He's the extremist. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I think I'm okay. I've sold myself short a little bit, but I like to represent the listener, and I like to bring objective point of views. Like, hey, you guys' music is great. Maybe have you considered this? I'm not going to criticize or judge anything you guys are bringing.
Yeah, that's
we
nothing we ever want to do.
No,
We
I
just-
love what I hear. All I do is
Thank
just
you.
speak to music in general. Like these are the
Sure.
things that I'm looking for, even out of an extreme metal band. There's, so whenever I do that, it's not like, hey, you guys would be better if you did it my
Yeah,
way. No,
yeah,
that's not my
it's not
attitude.
that.
It's
And we
a
all-
really good contrast you guys have between the two of you.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
Thank you.
And we all like what we like too, so that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna like it or you're gonna, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just what I like. So
Yeah, Jay and I
it's
have
not the
some-
be all end all. I just fucking been here and done this for a long time.
And we have a little bit slightly different tastes along the way, so there's
Mhm. Oh,
there's
we all
that.
do.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, every one of us.
Oh,
What were you gonna
seriously.
say, Tim?
Oh, I was going to say, you guys could pick up my bass in the mix, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it was there.
Good job, Cody. Cody, you did a fucking amazing job.
You're
dude.
welcome.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I will just say on behalf of bassists everywhere, Cody, you can bring Tim up a little bit in the mix.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just a little more punch.
This
just
fucking guy. Man.
I told Cody, even as the vocalist, I told Cody, I said, shake the fucking car.
Yeah,
with Tim,
yeah,
right?
really.
Yeah, let it slam.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for making the trip out here. I know you guys
For
had a
sure.
little bit of a haul, but man, thank you guys so
Oh, it
much
wasn't
for
bad.
coming
No,
on the
not
show.
at all.
Thank you for sharing your art with us.
Yes.
And we really appreciate it. And I look forward to hopefully playing some shows with you guys in
Goddokira.
2024.
Love that.
We'll definitely be
Absolutely.
there and
Fuck
we'll
yeah.
bro down now that we know each other too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it'll make it a more bro experience. Like the last show, you don't really know anybody. That was my first show in like 18 months myself. I kind of got back into that band. So now it's cool just getting back in the scene and meeting everybody.
yeah,
so
man.
Hell yeah,
just
dude.
putting it for the scene. You guys is fucking EP rocks and just keep doing what
Really
you're
cool.
doing. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with next. So
Yeah.
thanks again from the Metal Maniacs. Keep it metal, motherfuckers.
Oh, doing the thing.
You don't have to.
We're doing the thing.
Do it all
the time. Fucking fucks it.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.